What if the greatest Jedi Master who ever lived got a second chance? Not as a Force ghost watching from the sidelines, but as a living, breathing person, with decades of experience trapped in a young body. Today we're exploring one of the most fascinating possibilities in Star Wars. What if Obi-Wan Kenobi was reborn, with every single memory intact? Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we explore the wildest Star Wars theories and alternate timelines. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because today's scenario is going to completely reshape the galaxy as we know it. Let's establish the ground rules. Imagine this. Obi-Wan Kenobi dies on the Death Star in 0 BBY, becoming one with the Force. Just as we saw in A New Hope. But instead of existing purely as a Force spirit, something unprecedented happens. The Force itself decides to give him another shot. Reborn as a child, but with every memory from his previous life completely intact. He remembers Qui-Gon's death. He remembers training Anakin. He remembers the Clone Wars, Order 66, his duel on Mustafar, and those agonizing years watching over Luke on Tatooine. Most importantly, he remembers every mistake he made and every opportunity he missed. Now, when would this rebirth happen? For maximum impact, let's say he's reborn at the most critical moment in galactic history, around 41 BBY, right when he was originally discovering his Force sensitivity as a young initiate. But this time, he's got the mind of a 57-year-old Jedi Master crammed into a toddler's body. Sounds wild, right? But here's where it gets interesting. Imagine being Obi-Wan in this situation, back in the Jedi Temple, surrounded by other younglings who are barely learning to levitate objects, while you could fight Darth Vader to a standstill in your previous life. The sheer frustration would be overwhelming. But Obi-Wan isn't just any Jedi. He's the master of patience, the negotiator, the man who spent nearly 2 decades living in a desert cave, waiting for the right moment. If anyone could handle this impossible situation, it's him. His first major challenge, not revealing too much, too soon. The Jedi Council would immediately sense something unusual about this child. A youngling who demonstrates perfect lightsaber forms, who speaks about the Force with the wisdom of Master Yoda. That's not just prodigious, that's impossible. Obi-Wan would have to play it smart. He'd deliberately hold back, showing just enough skill to catch Qui-Gon Jinn's attention when the time is right, but not so much that he'd be seen as a threat or an anomaly. Remember, the Jedi of this era are already becoming rigid and dogmatic. A child who knows too much might be feared rather than celebrated. But here's the beautiful irony. Qui-Gon Jinn is still alive. The man who shaped Obi-Wan into the Jedi he became, his beloved master who died in his arms on Naboo. He's right there, walking the temple halls. The emotional weight of seeing Qui-Gon again would be staggering. Now we get to the real question. What does Obi-Wan actually do with this knowledge? His first priority would be crystal clear. Save Anakin Skywalker from falling to the dark side. But here's the thing. Obi-Wan already tried that in his original life, and he failed spectacularly. He knows that simply being a better master isn't enough. The problem ran deeper than their relationship. So, what does he change? First, he'd need to address the Jedi Order itself. Obi-Wan lived through the Order's fall, and he understands now what he couldn't see back then. The Jedi had become arrogant, disconnected from the galaxy they served, and blind to the Sith's manipulation. He knows about the inhibitor chips in the clone army. He knows Palpatine's entire plan. He knows that the Republic is already dying from within. But can he simply tell the Council, "Hey Masters, there's a Sith Lord named Palpatine who's going to become Chancellor and destroy us all"? The moment he demonstrates knowledge he shouldn't possess, he risks everything. The Council might think he's been corrupted or touched by the dark side. Obi-Wan would have to be subtle. He'd plant seeds of doubt about the clone army before it's even created. He'd warn about attachments, not by forbidding them, which clearly didn't work, but by helping the Order understand healthy emotional connections. He'd push for Jedi to be more present in the lives of ordinary citizens, rebuilding trust before it's lost. But let's talk about the big one, Anakin Skywalker. When Qui-Gon discovers young Anakin on Tatooine, Obi-Wan knows exactly what's coming. He knows this boy, this slave child, will become the most powerful Jedi of their generation, and then transform into the galaxy's most feared Sith Lord. He knows Anakin will murder younglings. He knows he'll kill Padme. He knows he'll become Darth Vader. How do you look at a 9-year-old and see a monster, knowing you're the one who failed to prevent it? This is Obi-Wan's ultimate test. He could prevent Qui-Gon from ever finding Anakin. He could ensure the boy stays on Tatooine, never enters the Jedi Order, never meets Palpatine. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Because Obi-Wan also knows that Anakin is the chosen one. In the end, it was Anakin, not Luke, who destroyed the Sith by killing the Emperor. If Obi-Wan prevents Anakin's journey entirely, does he doom the galaxy to eternal darkness under Palpatine's rule? No. Obi-Wan would make a different choice. He'd ensure Anakin is trained, but this time with full knowledge of every pitfall. He'd address Anakin's fear of loss from day one. He'd never forbid his relationship with Padme. Instead, he'd help Anakin understand how to love. Without possessiveness, he'd recognize the warning signs of Palpatine's manipulation and counter them. Most importantly, he'd be the master that Anakin actually needed, not just the one the Council demanded he be. Of course, changing the timeline creates ripples. Every alteration Obi-Wan makes changes something else. Maybe by preventing Anakin's fall, he accidentally creates a different catastrophe. Maybe Palpatine, sensing his plans are being countered, accelerates his timeline, or chooses a different apprentice. This is where Obi-Wan's experience becomes crucial. He's lived through galactic war. He's seen how seemingly small decisions cascade into enormous consequences. He's patient enough to play the long game. He might work behind the scenes to strengthen the Republic's democratic institutions. He might ensure certain key figures survive who died in the Clone Wars. He might subtly guide military strategy to minimize casualties, using his knowledge of separatist tactics before they're even employed. And when Order 66 comes, because Palpatine has been planning this for decades, Obi-Wan would be ready. He'd have contingencies for the clones' betrayal. He'd have safe houses established. He'd have warned the Jedi Council in ways they could accept, perhaps by discovering evidence of the inhibitor chips. So, what's the endgame? If Obi-Wan succeeds, we're looking at a radically different galaxy, a Jedi Order that evolves instead of falls, an Anakin Skywalker who becomes the hero he was meant to be, a republic that's strengthened rather than transformed into an empire. The Clone Wars might still happen, but without the tragic ending. Palpatine might be exposed before he can seize ultimate power, but here's the beautiful tragedy of this scenario. Obi-Wan would sacrifice everything he was. His friendship with Anakin in his original timeline, his relationship with Qui-Gon as his padawan, even his own identity, all of it would be different. He'd live his entire life carrying memories that no one else shares, unable to truly connect with anyone, because his experiences are unique. It's the ultimate Jedi sacrifice, giving up yourself to save everyone else. That's the kind of hero Obi-Wan Kenobi was, and that's exactly why this scenario works so perfectly. Because if anyone in the Star Wars universe deserves a second chance, and would use it selflessly, it's him. What do you think? Would reborn Obi-Wan succeed in saving the galaxy, or would the Force find a way to restore balance, despite his interference? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's discuss this wild possibility together. If you enjoyed this exploration, smash that like button and subscribe for more Star Wars deep dives. More Star Wars theories.